I just got done making this. It's a hot fudge pudding cake from the late 60s, early 70s. I've never seen the recipe before. I've never made the recipe. I have never tried this cake. It is absolutely delicious. Let's get started. We're going to make this just as the recipe is written. I can already see things that I'd like to change, but I won't. And I think this was the precursor to the molten lava cake that we have these days. So here we go. I've got a cup of flour. We've got 3/4 cups of sugar, 2 tablespoons of cocoa, and I did put this in a metal strainer. That's 2 tablespoons. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then we've got a 1/2 cup of milk. And before I put that in, I'm gonna just mix this up. There's no mixer involved in this today. It's just all by hand. So I'm gonna mix this all up. Mix up. Okay, and then we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of milk. And it says to stir. There's no whisk involved in the recipe. So as I said, I'm gonna follow this recipe and play around with it the next time I make it, if I make it again. So the next step is, let's see, what is the next step? Shortening. Now this is actually shortening. Melted, it's 2 tablespoons. We're gonna put that in there. And a cup of chopped nuts, and I've got pecans and walnuts in here, so we'll put that in there. And now we'll stir that up. Okay, so that's the cake part of this. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're gonna put this in a ungreased baking pan. I feel like I don't have everything in here, but I guess I do. It's very thick. Okay, we're gonna put it in an ungreased baking pan. I'm breaking a cardinal rule here, and it's calling for a 9 by 9. I am gonna put it in an 8 by 8. I think based on how many cups of product is in here, I think it's gonna be okay, but we'll find out. Okay, so here's the cake part. And if you have any memories of this cake from your childhood, I would love to hear about them. This was something new to me. Okay, so the next step is we're going to take a cup of brown sugar. What are we doing with this? Stir together brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of cocoa. Okay, come on. And I do remember that brown sugar back in the day, if it said brown sugar, it meant light brown sugar. Dark sugar was always differentiated. They didn't necessarily, in the recipes, say light brown sugar. They said brown sugar, but if they wanted you to use dark brown sugar, it would say that. So we're just going to assume that it's light brown sugar. I think the dark brown would add more flavor, but we're gonna give this a shot and see how it tastes. And then we've got a 1/4 cup of cocoa. Okay, we'll stir this up. Got little pieces of brown sugar in there, but I think that'll be all right. That'll break up. Sprinkle over the batter in the pan. So let's sprinkle that over. Oh. Spread that out evenly. Okay, now the next step is one that I'm a little concerned about, but we'll try it. Okay, so the next step, and I've heated this up so it should return to a boil really quickly, is we're going to pour 1 3/4 cups of water over the top of all of this. Okay, so that's gotten hot enough, so we're gonna do 1 3/4 cups. Be very careful when you're doing this. Okay, So it says just pour hot water on batter. Okay, we will do it. This is weird. Very weird. Okay, so I would like to shout out to Carol Sue today, a lovely person who I understand made this for her children when they were growing up. Thank you, Carol Sue. Okay, now we're going to put it in a 350 oven for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and see how this does. I hope it doesn't run over. Okay, so the cake is done. It's cooked, it's 45 minutes, and oh, look at that. It feels done. I'm gonna leave that like that, and it does look like a cake, so how weird. My head is in the way. So we'll wait a few minutes and cut this. Let's see, does it say, while hot, cut pudding into squares. Invert onto dessert plate. Okay, well, it's hot. I'm still gonna give it 5 minutes and we'll be back. Okay, so it's been just a couple of minutes and it says to cut this hot, so we've done everything else directly by the recipe that I found. That's an old recipe, and I'm gonna cut this. Ooh, I see goopy. Okay, I think I'll cut one from the middle. Okay, so I have this cheese slicer that I use. I like this one better. That takes out a piece of cake perfectly, so I'm going to use that. Let's just see what happens with this. I think you could take this out with a spoon the way it's feeling, but oh, look at all that. Oh my. Wow. So there is the goopiest looking cake I've ever seen. It looks delicious. Surprisingly so. And if we put a little scoop of whipped cream that I made earlier today, and I recorded it, you can find the link here. I bet that's going to taste delicious on there. So we'll give that a taste. Oh my goodness, this is really cakey on the... Oh my word. No wonder this was so popular. This is delicious. The crunch of the nuts and the chocolate, and it is delicious. It's so good. This is so worth making, and it is so ridiculously easy. Hot fudge pudding cake. Yum.